Hello guys, welcome to our second lesson on Introduction to Programming. Today we will talk about some new topics starting with swapping. Swapping means exchanging the value of two variables. For example, if num2 is 32 and num1 is 32 and num2 is 154, after swapping, num1 will be 154, num2 will be um, 32. Swapping is very useful in programming. You will see it in sorting numbers, games, and many other programs. Look at how it works. It's the two method. The first method is incorrect. Here's an example of swapping done incorrectly. If we are num2 is num1 is num2 and num2 is num1, what happens? First num1 takes the value of num2 and then num2 takes the value of num1. But now what variables have the same value? For example, as you can see, num2 is 154, num1 is 154 and num2 is 154. This is not what we want. Swapping doesn't work this way. So we need a better method. It's the correct method. And we need a temporary variable called TMP. It's the abbreviation for temporary variable. This is how it works. First, store num2 in TMP. Then assign num2 to num1. Finally, assign TM2 to num2. After these steps, these values are swapped. For example, num2 equal 154, num2 equal num1 is 154, num2 is 32, as you can see. And next, data types. Data types tell the computer what kind of data we are using, and because we need to uh, we need to contact with we need to talk with computer with data types, the data we have learned this. Basic data types, these are simple types like numbers and letters, real number, logical, char, string, integer, and or composite types. These are combination of different types. And vector data types, these are list or arrays of data. So arrays stores one more stores numbers or strings more than or one. Each type is important for different kinds of programs. Let's look at the basic data types first. Integer, these are real number like a birth year or height in centimeters, and integer stores just numbers, just number, not floats. And real numbers, these are numbers with decimals, uh, how can I say 1.75 meters or an exam score average. Logical numbers, these are true or false. For example, is the student older than 18? The answer can only be true or false. This is a boolean. The other types help us represent different kinds of information in our programs. It's the important one. And char or character, the abbreviation for character. A character is any single symbol like a letter, number, or punctuation mark. For example, the first letter of a surname, the key pressed by a user. In programming, we write characters between single quotes like e, for, and question mark. Question mark. Characters are the building blocks for strings, which we'll learn about soon. We will learn string, don't worry. And encoding. Characters are stored as number inside the computer. Different systems like SCIA or Unicode match numbers to symbols. For example, in ISO, the number 240 represents Turkish letter yumuşak G. In ISO, encoding makes sure the computer can display and understand text correctly. As you can see, integer, ISO numbers. It's important for working with different languages and symbols in programming. Think like real life, and you are in another country and you need to learn language for connection, conversation, and in computer is not different. We will learn the ISO language and we we start the conversation with computer. As strings, a string is a group of characters like a name, word, or sentence. For example, Dennis Ritchie is a string. ISBN and numbers is also a string. All numbers can be string, or all, but all text, all char not can be integer. Don't forget this. We write strings between double quotes. Strings are useful when we don't need to do math with numbers. For example, students' number can be strings because we don't add or multiply them. And next, composite data types. Composite data types let us group of different data together. For example, a city can have a name, latitude and longitude. We have learned this. To access this data, we use dot notation. For example, capital dot name equal Ankara. This means the name of the capital is Ankara. The composite types help us organize complex data. And nested composite data types. Composite types can also be nested. For example, a highway can have a city and a code. Each city can also have a name, latitude, and longitude. To access nested data, we write something like this: temp.end and name. It's easy, don't worry. It will be fun. When we finish this lesson, you will say, "Oh, all of them is easy." Vector data types. Now let's talk about the vector data types. A vector is, and last one is data types. A vector is a collection of similar items. You can think of it like a list. For example, a list of student names, a list of exam scores, a list of class students. In programming, we often call these vectors arrays. In Turkish, diziler. An array can hold many values, but all the values must be of the same type. For example, an array of integers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. An array of strings Hamit, Abdullah, Ethan is strings. Arrays are, but don't forget, all values must be of the same type. I was said integers for arrays for integers is for string, not array and integers. Not strings and integers. If you want to do with both of them, we will learn class. Arrays are useful when you need to store and work with multiple pieces of data at once. And strings. Let's talk about the strings. A string is a group of chars or characters, like a name and sentence, or even a book. For example, hello world, programming is fun, and then is Richard. Strings are written between double quotes. If you plan to do math with numbers, you should not use strings because strings is chars text. For example, a student number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 can be string because we don't add or multiply it. But for calculations, we use numbers instead of strings. And strings are very common in programming. We use them for text messages, user input, and more. And arrays of records. Let's combine what we learned. We can create arrays of records. A record is a composite type that groups different pieces of information. For example, a record for a student might include their name, age, and grade. An array of records is like a list of these records. For example, a class of students where each student has a name, age, and grade. In arrays, We have a base and power. Base, main char, like think like imagine like base char, main character, and powers or powers. It was like that. And how it might look. Student 1, name Ali, and name Hamit, doesn't matter. Age 15, grade 100. Student 2, name Abdullah, age 14, grade 50. Areas of record are useful when you need to organize and manage lot of related data. And expression the solution, the final uh, subject. How to express a solution problem. To solve a problem, we need a step-by-step guide. The guide is called an algorithm. If you know something about algorithm, it will be very easy. An algorithm is like a recipe. If you don't know, for example, let's look at the recipe for Jamaican rice and peas. Pot and put one divided by 2 cans of beans in 5 cups of water. Add 1 divided by 4 can of coconut milk, a sprig of thyme, and some salt and pepper. Cook until the beans are soft. And 4, smash the bottom of an escalation and add it to the pot with 2 cups of rice, 1/4 can of coconut milk, and 2 sprigs of thyme. 5. Remove any extra water if it is more than 2 centimeters above the rice. Bring to a boil for 5 minutes. Continue cooking, covered until rice is tender. Each step in the recipe is clear and specific. In programming, we write algorithms in the same way. We break the solution into small, simple steps that the computer can follow. This is how we solve. It's a basic explanation. How we solve problems in programming, one step at a time. That's the end of our second lesson. Today we learned about swimming values, data types, and how to organize data in programming, and introduction to algorithm. These are important concepts you will use often. Thank you for listening. Next lesson we will learn algorithm, flowcharts, as you can see. Don't worry, it will be fun. Flowchart, not hard. And okay, see you in the next lesson.